couple of weeks without the practice, and I've been
Solid.
Good. But last night I unraveled. Like, she got angry at me, I got angry at her. We were up all night, and we woke up the next day. We're like, I'm sorry. Yeah. But I'm so grateful to be here now, because it's like, all right, now that you've grounded, you're grounded. There's the next step. Yeah. You can transform into something new, because there's anger I'm trying to transform. As a child, I was super angry because I feel like I was robbed of my childhood, if you say. So that's something that I'm working through, trying to heal. And it's really difficult because you're trying to heal the most innocent parts of you, the little you. And it's even hard to speak about. Yeah, but also just remember that you in the present, here and now, you have a choice now. May not have had a choice in childhood, right? Circumstances, situations, the people that were around, we as children don't get a say in that. But as we grow and we mature into adults, then the choice ultimately becomes ours in terms of how we view the experience, how we integrate and process the experience, and then ultimately how we choose to hold on to it. So there's a lot of different ways, and it's, dude, you saying this is so on point with what we're going to be talking about today, because Pyo, which is the next Kuji in the process, is all about change. It's about taking responsibility. It's about you having and also recognizing the power to initiate change. And so, before we jump into this, like, the first step in looking back at our history and our past, the first step is acknowledging what took place, however ugly it was, right? Recognizing it, accepting that it is what it is. But then the next thing is knowing that we have a choice in how we let that experience continue to influence us in the now. You have it's all based upon your choice and how you want to let that past influence who you are today, how you show up, how you treat other people, and even the energy that you hold. You have a choice. You could hold on to the anger. You could be angry. But you got to look at, all right, how does that vibration affect me? Or you could say, all right, let me use that. Let me use it as fuel of what not to do, how I should treat people. And then thinking about, in the future, if I choose to have children, how will I show up as a father and a parent and as a caretaker based upon what I experienced, right? So that's kind of what happened with me. I didn't grow up with my father. I grew up in an abusive home. I am a domestic violence survivor. I am. I witnessed my sister's father beating on my mother. I witnessed the toxic relationship of fighting and bickering and then making up and then just doing all types of stuff to try to hurt the other person. I witnessed that as a child. Then, for years, the role of a father and the masculine energy was absent from me. So my sister's dad went into prison when I was about, 7, 8, maybe 9. Wow, bro. And then my mom was in and out of relationships. There was no consistent male relationship. And then he came back when actually I had graduated. My Jaden, our oldest, was born. He was about 1.5. So yeah, this was a good 10, almost 10 years later. So for a very long time, the void was there for me in terms of what it meant to be a man, especially during the years of my development that I needed a man to be there. I didn't have one. So when I became a father, Betty called me three-way with a friend. It was a Sunday. I was in my room playing video games. My boy called me. He's like, yo, what you doing? I was like, I'm just chilling playing video games. He's like, you got a moment? Something serious. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He goes, I got Betty on the phone three-way because she couldn't call you from her phone because her parents could see the caller ID. Parents are really strict. He's like, she wanted me to call you so she can tell you something. And so she got on the phone. She goes, I'm pregnant. 16 years old, bro. I was 16. I was 16. She calls me. She's like, I'm pregnant. My first response, which was really a reaction, I asked her, are you getting an abortion? And she's like, no.
No.
It's not in my beliefs. I don't believe in abortions. So I would love for you to be a part of the child's life. But if you choose not to, I'm still going to have the baby. And I was like, okay, cool. And we hung up, sat in my room. And in that little 20 minutes or so, bro, it wasn't even like a doubt or a question. It was just like, well, shit, I know what it's like to not have a father. I know what it's like to wonder and be out here with only one parent. No, I know what that's like. Yeah. Why would I put somebody else through that? It was a switch. Nope, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, bro.
So, like, because of what I experienced, what I went through, I use that as a framework of what not to do. And I actually use it as fuel to push me into this unknown, uncharted territory. I'm like, I don't know how to do this, but I didn't have a father there, so I'm going to prove to myself that I can do this without having an example and a reference and someone, my father, grandfather, to guide me. There was no man, not even my uncle, who was the closest father figure that I had. He couldn't tell me what it was like because he himself has 8 kids by 6 different women.
Wow.
And he was a horrible father because he wasn't present in their life. And he created so much chaos and dissonance. So I couldn't even look to my uncle as, hey, how do I do this? I had to figure this shit out on my own. But I was like, cool, all right, let's do it. I can learn. We're here now. We're here now.
Respect.
We're here now.
Wow.
You know? So I share that with you to give you that inspiration of, yeah, my past, my history, my childhood wasn't the greatest, but it doesn't have to determine how I continue to write my story as I move forward. It doesn't have to influence me in a negative way in the present moment. But going back to heal it, you're going to feel the anger, you're going to feel the frustration, you're going to feel the sadness, the pain, but alchemize that, transmute that. Like, allow yourself to feel that, but allow that energy to fuel you into higher heights within yourself, whatever that looks like. Right? Fuel it into creativity, fuel it into your practice. Allow it to propel you into figuring out how to be a better partner. Right? Like, there's so many different ways that you can use that. You know. But these are the conversations that aren't usually had.
Yeah.
right? So it's hard to get to this level of understanding about one's own experience to see the possibilities. Because most people, they keep this shit under wraps. They don't talk about it. And then especially as men, it's like to be vulnerable enough to talk about our pain. And then the process of like, I'm figuring it out and I don't know. It's okay. It's okay if you don't know. Because you can learn. You can grow. And that's the beauty of life.
Wow. This is men's circle.
100%, bro. This is it. This is it. And you know, being able to talk like this, it shows people who they are and the things that they've been avoiding. And that's what keeps people away. Is they're afraid to get to this point right here. This right here.
Thank you for sharing that. Even up to the age of how old you were, sunk up with what happened to me in my childhood. Like, spot on.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit younger, but that age of pre-7
Mm-hmm.
is when you're pre-7, you could be with your mom, and you can enjoy your mom. But like after you hit 7, you should be with your father.
Mm.
You should learn from your father, because at 7 you realize, oh, I'm a man. I have the parts. I have the voice. I'm a man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to act as a man now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have that father figure to teach you, you got it in you. You could learn, you know. But if it's not taught right, it's going to delay the process of being a man. You're going to find a woman. You're going to go through this turmoil with this woman, and you're not going to realize how to do it properly from the jump.
Yep.
And that is traumatizing.
Yeah.
For everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things too, man. Like, because there is a flip side where there have been children, especially boys, who did have fathers, who grew up with fathers, and still turned out to be pieces of shit. There is that side too, right? So I am a firm believer that it does come down to the heart, the spirit of the individual, because somebody could come from horrendous circumstances, but then they could bloom into this beautiful flower. But then there's the opposite, where circumstances could have been made where finances were good, grew up around community and tribe and had family and everything that you could have imagined a child would need. A child could receive all of that. But as they mature and become adults, they could still be shitty people. So because I've met them. I've met them.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I've met them. And so for me, I'm like, okay, what's the condition of the heart? Because the condition of the heart will determine everything. And that's why in the ancient practices, they talked about that of cultivating the right heart and the right mind and having the right virtues. So mentally, we got to think the right thoughts. From the heart, we have to feel in the right manner. And then in terms of virtues, we have to do the right things, taking action on the right things. All three of those combined create the whole of who the being is.
That's the Trinity. Wow.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we could go on and on about this, brother, but yeah, you being in this place mentally where you are observing yourself and going back internally to begin healing the inner child, that's beautiful and that's progression. Many people don't get to that point where they recognize, oh shit, I've been through a lot and it was very impactful on who I am. I need to work on that. Most people are like, it is what it is. I am who I am. I'm a product of this. Like, nah, this is who I am. You're going to accept me? No, you're using that as baggage now.
Man, that's it right there.
People use it as baggage. So by our example and us talking about these things and sharing it, it's going to give people the permission to change and to not have to put on this facade and try to be something that they're not. Be you. Be you, authentically you, because there's no other being on the planet like you.
Right.
We're unique. So with Rin, this is us fortifying and gathering our strength. With Pio, now we are getting into the transformative power. Pio is the symbol to initiate change, right? So now that we've gathered our energy, gathered our strength, now we need to mobilize it. Pio is all about mobilization, movement, change, right? So the character for Pio means soldier or army.
What? That's what my name means.
Armand?
Yeah. That's tight.
That's dope. That's dope.
Come on, man.
That's dope.
Dude.
So this is what this means is now we're putting into motion the spiritual forces and the metaphysical forces that we've gathered. Right? Pio sets the gathered strength from Rin into motion and commissions it. The goal of Pio is to see areas of our life that are stagnant and in need of change and renovation, and consciously manifest positive growth and personal transformation. So when you add on Pio after Rin, it is now creating this motion of the energy. So Rin is like you gathering the energy up. Pio is now moving this energy out and putting it into motion to create the change. Pio teaches us that change is inevitable, and therefore we should always be ready for the unexpected. Be ready for the unexpected. Anything can happen at the drop of a hat. Now, when to use Pio? You can use Pio when you feel powerless to change, when you can't sense when to begin or end. So if it's this complete uncertainty, when you have trouble controlling difficult situations, when you lack motivation, and when you also feel stagnant. So, for instance, in your relationship, let's say there's a moment where you guys are just not seeing eye to eye. And it's like she's trying to express and get something out and through, but you're not really getting it. You're trying to get something out. She's not really getting it. And there's just like this stagnation. That's when you say, all right, babe, we're just not getting to a neutral point. Let me just gather and hold this Pio. Let me just get some movement going. Just sit in that, allow the energy to begin processing. Because ultimately that's what Pio is doing as well. Is as you hold it in that type of situation, it'll help you energetically and subconsciously begin processing. Because consciously, as you communicate, and it's not syncing up, like you guys aren't being able to get to a common ground, that's from a conscious neocortex level. Like, I'm not getting through to you. So I need to go deeper and help shift the energy at a subconscious level so that I could get to a place where I could articulate myself clearly enough that it'll get through to you. But also, our auras are connected. Our energy is connected clearly. So by me doing Pio, I'm also going to help energetically begin to shift this energy between us without forcing it. I'm just sitting here holding the mudra and I'm just breathing, right? So that's how this mudra can help you in that particular situation.
Woo!
Yeah, man. And so if we kind of go back to